We are live. Yay, guys. Woohoo. So welcome. I have more of my fabulous level 3 colleagues with me.
We are live.
Oops, let me close this down. Sorry. All right, here we go. So I have Tracie Mahann and Monica Dunn with me tonight. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
So I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves. And what I think our crowd's most interested in is how did you get into the biz of QHHT? So tell us your Nexus story.
Which one wants to go first?
You.
Okay.
How did I get into the biz? So I'm going to try and give you the elevator version because, of course, life leads you to this stuff. You know, we had this predestined thing going on. But I found myself drawn to hypnosis for a long time. And I went into just doing like regular hypnotherapy in 2007. And then around 2012, the Dolores stuff kept hitting me just like it did everybody else. Like I literally had somebody hand me their business card with Dolores Cannon, 3 Ways of Volunteers on the back. And she goes, you're supposed to do this work. And who knew how powerful that day was? Like, still blows me away that this friend of mine just said, I just got this hit on the way in that I was supposed to tell you, you're supposed to do this work. And so I went on a journey to figure out who's Dolores Cannon. Mm-hmm. And all the synchronicities of that. She was doing a lecture in Honolulu, and I had a friend that's a flight attendant. And she's like, let's go. I'll get the flights. You get the tickets for the lecture. I'm like, okay. So we went. And so I got to meet Dolores there. I never got to take a live class with her, but I did get to meet her, get a picture with her. And that's when I met Julia for the first time as well. And then, you know, I went home. So my backstory is, you know, I went through a divorce, single mom, 3 kids, doing a full-time job, and then trying to squeeze hypnosis on weekends and evenings where I can when there's not soccer games and other things going on. So my life was pretty chaotic, and now I'm trying to squeeze in, when am I going to take this course and how can I afford to take the course, right? Mm-hmm. So God's little angels sent me this client for a reading one day. He came in just for a little psychic reading, and we got to talking about Dolores, and next thing we knew, 3 hours had gone by. And we were both just kind of like, whoa, what just happened? Mm. And anyways, he said, well, I would like to do a past life regression. And remember, I was doing the other hypnosis. And so I was like, well, I can do that. And so he came back the next weekend to do a standard past life regression through regular hypnosis. And he hands me this envelope with the money in cash to take the level 1 course. And he says, I went home and I just knew I had to do this. And he gave me the money for it. And that's how I got to take my level 1 course. So I took it online. And then my second portion of the journey, level 2, didn't happen for a couple more years. But in the meanwhile, I was doing all the bad habits in all the right ways with level 1. And right. So when I went to my level 2 course, I was like, oh, I got some cleaning up to do. Mm-hmm. And what a wake up call. But that level 2 course brought me into just a whole lot of other things, like that whole thing. It was in Eureka Springs in 2018. And it changed my whole life. Mm-hmm. Just going to that course changed my whole life and put me on this trajectory and quitting my day job and all the things. And then I started doing, in 2019, I started doing the metaphysical hour with Julia on Friday nights. And I was like, you know what? I got to do level 3. I can't be representing on the metaphysical hour, not be a level 3. So I started that journey with her and got into my level 3. And, you know, we talk about the level 3 course is like a blow to the ego and the pride and all the things. Yep. You know, it's like I was I was trying so hard to get that script down and get it right, and I'd get so nervous reading it, and it just took me forever to get through just that piece. And so anyone out there that's looking towards that, or was on that journey, or is currently on that journey, just know to have patience, get over yourself, and you'll get there. But anyways, life just kind of just kept guiding me in that direction. And you know what, I wouldn't look back. I wouldn't change it for the world. The life I have now, where I'm doing these sessions, and the level 2, of course, also is, as this is our topic tonight, in Eureka Springs, that was when the channeling started with the Octurians. So that was another reason why it was life changing. It just, everything from that course on has just been like, don't look back. It's just been this beautiful expansion. Not all, you know, I still have all my healing to do, and things that I'm doing with that, but now I have supportive friends, and we have these techniques and these beautiful ways to help each other through the sessions and through the channeling and all the different things. So that's been my journey, and I can't wait to see what else is in store. I love QHHT. I love what it does for people. And I love our little level 3 group, where that's another piece, is it just feels like family all the time. It's like we just got back from Sedona, and it was like 400 family members went to Sedona for a reunion. You know, it was wonderful.
It was so amazing. Sedona was,
yeah. So yes,
Tracie, you're helping train the level 3s too, right?
I am. Yeah, I'm a teacher for the level 3s, and that's been an extraordinary journey to go through that with practitioners, to get them to their level 3. So a lot of fun. In fact, I was doing some of that today. So it's a lot of fun.
Cool. We got quite a few people online. Donna says she watches the Metaphysical Hour every week, and it's always useful information. So,
oh, I love that. Yeah.
And she follows you and Daniel. So
thank you, Donna. Thank you.
Yeah.
Love it.
Monica, tell us about your story. How'd you get here?
Well, I kind of came onto this planet, in this body, with a really open mind. And it was just like, I was kind of like the hippie child. And I was just like, oh yeah, it's just a playground, and let's just play. And then life happened, and I got serious and all the things. And then my parents passed when I was 19 and 20, and that really shifted everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me seeking something more than the physical. And I had a natural leaning towards that, but that was really a catalyst to get me into that, back into that realm. And yeah, so I studied healing modalities throughout my 20s and my 30s, and my astrologer said, you're not really going to land in your work until you're about 50. And I was like, oh no, really? Like, that's the plan? Why did I do that? So I did that. And, I had fun with all the different modalities, and I studied shamanism, and I studied, like all kinds of healing modalities, energy healing. And, I still work with those modalities here and there, but it never landed as, this is my work, this is what I'm going to do. So I just kind of took jobs here and there, doing things and traveling in the meantime.
Waiting to be 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So then back in 2015, early 2015, my partner, he's an experiencer, like an extraterrestrial experiencer. And so he had been seeing videos of Dolores Cannon here and there. And one day he said, I really think you're going to resonate with this woman. Watch this video. And within 5 minutes, I said to him, this is my work. I absolutely know it. Like, there was a knowing that came over me. And I said, this is it. I'm going to take her course. And, and I didn't even know that she had just passed. but like months before that. And that was all divine too. I'm just sure of it because I feel like she connects with all of us on, on like all of us now. She can be
Yeah.
everywhere. So yeah. And then sure enough, we took a big road trip. We went into Canada and he had a session with Marilyn Dyke in Canada on the way to Arkansas for me to take my level 1 course.
Wow.
And that was back in 2015. And I just had a phenomenal experience with the level 1. I just, it was all clear. Like, yes, this is absolutely your work. And this is what all these pieces that you are being brought together, all these things that you studied that you thought were kind of a waste of energy and time. No, not at all. Not ever. All
Yeah.
the pieces got to come together in QHHT. So now I have this amazing modality since 2015 that is just, it's phenomenal. When I found out that she believed that, anybody could heal anything, and I just went, yeah, I know this, and I want to do this also, and I want to share this with the world. So I just knew that I was going to take it as far as I could and do I took the level 1. The following year, I took the level 2, went back to Arkansas. And then it took me a few years because I was living in the sticks and the boonies. And I needed to get all of my sessions in. And once I did, I went to Hawaii in 2018 and took my level 3. And yeah, that was so magical too. And like you said, Tracie, yes, I experienced that the ego hurt
Yeah.
of like,
Yeah.
what? I, it's not perfect already.
Yeah,
It's
but I'm having great sessions. Yeah.
right. Yeah. And then it's next level. Every time I would take another class, it was just, oh, wow, they're getting even better.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then I took my level 3 training, and then, and then I went through the ego death and had to let go of a lot of things and let go of, holding on to old stories around all of it. And yeah, it was kind of like an initiation for me.
Yeah. It's a good way
And
to put it.
and it was great. And then I came out on the other side, and I haven't looked back. I mean, it just keeps getting better. And I think the thing that I love the most about having done it for so long is that you realize how easy it is for people to experience a QHHT session.
Yeah.
And honestly, how easy it is to facilitate. Because like you
Yes.
said, Monica, it's in there. She did it all. It's like
Yeah.
package, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, even level 1, you learn exactly what you need to have amazing sessions. So as long as you just do it the way she did it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And don't try to make it special. And, oh, if I just add all these pieces to it.
Right. Right.
We've all done.
So my story's a little different. So I was reticent about level 3. So I did my level 1 and level 2. Dolores was still alive. And then right after I did my level 2 is when she passed. So I did it the summer of 2014. And I come back to Durango, I'm doing my level 2 stuff and I'm fine. And I'm doing, like a session or 2 a week. And then I was teaching at a university. I had a corporate gig. I was helping a friend start a nonprofit. I had stuff going on, and I'm like, I don't see level 3. I'm happy. I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm fine. Right. And then, so it was right after Dolores passed, there was a big lull there. There was a lot going on organizationally. Of course, Julia had to, go pass through her mourning, and so there's a couple of years there where there wasn't a whole lot going on organizationally because it was just things were getting figured out. And I was fine. I'm like, I'm in Durango. I'm doing my level 2 sessions. I'm good. I don't, level 3, whatever. And Suzanne Spooner came to Durango on vacation.
Oh, yeah, right.
And she pulls me aside and I'm like, hey, Suzanne, look, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And she's like, you need to go to your level 3. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, you need to go to your level 3. And so my husband and I had already planned a vacation to Ireland that summer. And then guess where the level 3 training showed up? In
Yeah,
Ireland. And
very
so I'm
good.
like, all right, tap, tap, tap. Okay, got it. I'm gonna go for my level 3. And same story. Like my ego was like cut off at the knees. Nope, everything you've been doing is wrong. All right, okay. So fixed it. And it was like 9 or 10 months later, I got my level 3 and never looked back, so but it was just funny how I was like, yeah, I don't need it. I'm fine. I'm good.
Yeah.
The universe is like, no, this is what you're gonna do.
Exactly. Yeah, that just kind of gives you the extra push you need.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have Brian Dunhauer is on. He
Hi,
says
Brian.
he's looking to
Brian.
start level 3 in October.
Oh, great.
Wonderful.
And Sarah Mount is on.
Hey,
Hi,
Sarah.
Sarah.
And Judy Koku is on.
Judy.
Judy.
Woo!
Yeah.
Shout outs to all you guys.
Yeah. So we got lots and lots of QHHT people. Okay, so we're going to talk about channeling tonight. I haven't talked about this subject yet. And it's so fascinating. And both of you are like master, mysterious, and magical channelers. And so I want to get into your process and how does that work and how does it feel and all the things. And so that's so if you've got questions for Tracie or Monica about channeling, put them in the chat. I'm watching the chat and we'll feed them in there. So Tracie, you alluded to this level 2 training and
Yeah.
Daniel coming in. Tell us more about that. Like how was that in your QHHT session that happened, or was it in the parking lot, or like what happened?
I think it was a whole stretch. I was there for 10 days because they, for that particular class, they had their UFO conference that
Mm-hmm.
I think Nancy
Yeah.
does them now for
Yep.
the Ozark
Well,
Mountain. But
They used to do the transformation and the ET conference.
yeah, so that was going on the weekend before the class started. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to that too. So I got to meet all these people that come in and were speaking at that. And because Julia and I were doing the metaphysical hour together and all these things, like we weren't doing that yet at that point, but I was still friends with her. I had her on my podcast several times and we had developed a friendship. So I was going to lunch and dinner with these guys because we're all hanging out together. And, just hearing their stories and their journeys and their research and all the stuff that they've done was just really powerful. And I was just really getting activated there. I felt like I had stepped into 5D and was just like floating in 5D for 10 days. When the class started, I got a lot of aha moments. But the funny part is I was going to sit by Sarah Bressman Cosme. She was in my level 2 class, and that was the first time her and I had met. And I had sat down. I got the perfect little spot. I was the first one in the room. I was going to, I didn't want to sit up front, but I wanted to sit in the aisle so I could see everything and hear everything. So I was maybe 3 rows back and in the aisle. And here comes Sarah, and she comes and sits down by me, and we're chatting and we're hitting it off and all the good things. And she's like, we should do a trade. And I'm like, totally, we should do a trade. Well, then we get up and do our 5 hugs, and I'm giving my 5 hugs. And there's this woman in the back row and she's crying. And I was like, what's wrong? And she goes, I got here late and I have bad hearing. I can't see anything. I can't hear anything. I don't know how I'm going to get through this class. And I was like, take my spot. So I give her my spot and I go take her spot, and I'm sitting there and there's like nobody else at this table. And I'm thinking, so there I'm sitting watching the whole entire class in front of me, and everybody's sitting with people and they're all chatting and visiting. And I'm sitting at this very last table by myself, but there's there's laptops there, there's stuff sitting there. So I was like, whose table is this? So I'm sitting there watching, and then pretty soon Kaya comes and sits down next to me. I'm like, oh no. I'm sitting at the instructor table, Julia and Kaya's table. I said, am I not supposed to be sitting here? He goes, no, you're fine. And that was the first time I had ever met Kaya too. So that was kind of fun too. And then I think Diane and Suzanne were doing certain things in that class too and helping out. And so Julia came and sat down. Do not put Julia and I in the back row together ever, ever. Anyway, Kaya goes up at one point, and the moral of that story is, so I'm sitting back there with the instructor. So everybody thought that I was a helper in the class and not in the class. So I didn't really bond with my class till afterwards, when I started making connections with them afterwards, because they all thought that I was, somebody doing paper and then Kaya asked me to take a lot of photos with my cell phone and stuff. So I was running around taking pictures of everybody. So that made it even more look like I was working with them and not in the class. So all of that going on, Kaya goes up on stage, and they wanted to show us what it would look like if somebody went into a channel when they're in their session. And if you don't know Kaya channels and brings in all these energies. Well, he was bringing in the Octurians, and Julia's sitting by me, and my whole body just started to shake. And I was just like, what is happening? And she goes, I know, cool, right? And I'm like, no, I mean, like, my physical body is having a reaction. And like, I could just feel everything vibrating in my body. And I didn't know what was going on, but I mean, I thought it was kind of cool that I was having such a strong reaction to it. That was the last day of class. So that night, our class was the reason that everybody started having excursions at the end of their class, because we all got together and did a new moon ceremony at the river, and Kaya and Julia came along. And I said something in the car. I rode with them in the car, and I said, wouldn't it be cool if you could just get activated like a little booster shot or something, and you just get activated in your channeling? Well, then we go and we sit down, and they ask Kaya to channel again, and he's channeling, and I'm just like doing the same thing again, like, what's going on? And so after that night, we all go to our rooms, and I woke up in the morning with a bump on my skin, and it was like a big welt, but I couldn't see any, like, if it's a spider bite, you see the little bite marks and stuff, and I'm taking pictures of it, trying to see it. And it was super sensitive. And I was like, what the heck is this? So then this is the day I'm leaving to go home, but I go have breakfast with Julia, and I'm asking her, and she's like, do you think that you had an implant or something? What do you think it is? And I'm like, I don't know, because there's no, and I'm showing her the pictures. There's no marks, there's no bite marks or anything like that. And I scoured the room and the bed, and there was not like anything flying around or buzzing around or crawling around. Anyways, so I'll try to shorten this story. So I go home, and I go have a session with another practitioner near me. And so we do this little trade. And when I went under, here comes Daniel and all this blah, 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 and they took me to see a whole bunch of different realms in this regression. I went to see the fairy realm. I went to see the giant realm. I went to see the Palladians, like, they were bouncing me all over the place. And at one point she asked, what was the little bump? Or what's that? It wasn't even that little. It was about the size of a quarter and quite raised. And they go, what was the bump? And they said, well, she asked for the booster. And I was like, oh my God, that whole time in the car driving going, wouldn't it be cool if we could just get a booster? So anyways, that's my story about how Daniel came in. And I ended up doing a session, or just reaching out to one of the gals that was in the class, that she was posting on Facebook that she was having a hard day. And I just wrote to her, and I said, why don't we just chat for a couple of minutes and see if we can shift that for you? And so we got on a call, and I ended up going into the channel. Like, I'm talking to her, and then I was like, well, let me close my eyes and see, what comes in for me. And next thing I know, my voice is changing. I'm telling her to do all these things, taking her to all these places. She goes into a forest. She has all these beautiful things come out and help and work with her. She started speaking light language and all these things were happening. And at the end of it, she goes, what do you call a session like that? And I said, I don't know. I've never done that before. So she's the one that actually said, you should call that an ascension session. I feel like that was, I was so activated in that. And so I thought, all right, well, I tried it with a couple more people and it was really cool. It continued to happen in similar ways. And so I created the ascension activation sessions. And that's my Daniel story. So, oh yeah, and the name Daniel came as kind of a joke because in that session that I had with the friend, she said, well, what should we call you? And he said, well, just call me Daniel, because we're always looking for these fancy names, like something really sci-fi and original, and so I get Daniel. But anyways, I started laughing, and then I was telling people that story, and then the Daniel thing stuck. And I'm like, I was really hoping that it was going to eventually be a different name, but it's Daniel. Now it's so ingrained, I couldn't even think of it as being a different name. It completely resonates with the energy. So, all right. So that's my story.
Well, I have a question though.
Okay.
So have you found do you have any sort of spiritual or karmic relationship with this Arcturian? Like,
yes.
Is he soul family members?
That's a great question. Yeah, so I was probably about 2 years into the channel before I realized that Daniel is another aspect of my soul incarnated in Arcturus right now. Okay. So same soul.
Okay. So he is you, a different aspect of the big you.
Yeah. Yeah, another aspect of the soul that the aspect of Tracie comes from. Right. Yeah. If that makes sense to you guys. Yeah. There's so many aspects of us, our soul, our soul aspects out into so many different forms. We have many more. I have other forms other than Daniel. We have many lives going on. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. I've seen a lot of things that I don't even know how to put words to just by being in the channel. So it's like I look at our Earth so different now and what we're doing here, and it's like, oh my gosh, let's just have some fun, you guys. This is way different than we think it is. We're making it way harder than we should, and I still fall into that, being in the, that third dimension. But when I can pull myself out of it, then I kind of giggle that I would get in the drama of it. So, yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Monica, how did you don't have a person that you channel. So tell everybody, like, what are you channeling? And then how did you find that what? Or is it a who? I don't know.
I'm not certain who or what. I have a sense, but I can't say that I'm actually to the point of knowing. I'm pretty clear, though, really in my knowing, in my noetic body, I feel a sense of sometimes what might be coming through or who might be coming through.
How would you describe that? Who or what?
So sometimes it's given to me as I'm channeling.
Oh.
So I can be channeling and I just have this sense or knowing of, oh, yes, this is another aspect of me. This is another incarnation or soul aspect, soul piece of me that may be existing now in another realm, or I may have been at another time, even though there is no time. So yes, I am that now also. So like Tracie, what I've found is that other life experiences that I've had in other realms or even other times. It's funny to say that now because, time is an illusion, but really we still think of it as time. So yeah, other lifetimes that I've experienced, I feel that they are all coming through me now. And so I feel as though basically I'm just opening myself to be a pure channel for what is for the highest good to come through at any given time. And so I don't know who or what might show up. And how I started was I started singing as a child, and like performing for my school, and things like that. And so singing has always been there for me. And then I became a singer-songwriter in my 20s, and played gigs in Seattle and did that whole thing. And then kind of that fell away, and then I lived life and did other things, and then would go back to the music. And so music was always a piece for me that was really important for me to connect with, and particularly my voice. And then when I got into QHHT, I went, this is the direction that I'm channeling my energy, and oh yeah, that can stay over there. And then, I knew that wasn't the truth. I knew that using my voice in a different way was always going to be important, and particularly like having things come out, whether you want to call it singing or now what it is. But so and whenever I would go through a rough patch, I lost one of my soul sisters a few years back, and the music came back in, and songwriting came back in, and it was my way of connecting to her and honoring her. And so I brought this to a QHHT gathering with Tracie and a few others, Julia, Erica, yeah, Sarah. And so we were all together, and I sang for them, and they were like, "Oh, you need to be doing something with that." And of course, it fell by the wayside again. And then last oh, this is a neat tie-in. Okay, so last summer, I think it was August, we were in Durango, Colorado.
Yeah, when Holly was,
And I wasn't.
And and you were out here where
I was in Oregon. Yeah.
where we live, and we were out where she lives. Yeah.
Wow, this is pretty cool how this is all coming together. Okay, so we're there, and we always just have these fun nights of, channeling or putting people under or whatever we're going to do. And so one night, Judy Koku, hello, Judy. Judy Koku was channeling, and I asked her, and so we asked questions around the room. And the question that I asked Judy was, I know I'm supposed to be doing some other form of work. What can you tell me about that? And she said, or who was, coming through.
Can I say who hers is? Hers is the commander.
Commander, yeah. Okay, so the commander came through and said, you will be using your voice in a new way. And I was like, okay, that makes some sense. And over the years, I had played with my voice just by myself, and these strange um, sounds would come out, or tones, or things would come through, and I never knew what that was until I knew what it was. So she says her bit, and she doesn't really give me more than that. And so after we're finished, Tracie says, well, Julia says, hey, I think you need to be doing that in Thailand when we're in Thailand. And I was like, what? Like, she's already asking me to do this thing that I don't even know what I'm doing. And so that was fun. And then Tracie said, and I have an idea. She said, you're just gonna sit at my head, and you're gonna tone over me, and we're gonna see what happens. Mm-hmm. So we did it.
I love to volunteer.
We did it, and it was so magical. And there were tones coming through me that, were not me.
And can I share about my experience with that?
Yeah.
So my experience with that is that I'm seeing all these things going on. And, I'm sitting there also going, don't forget to tell her about that. Wow, and this. And I'm going up this path, and I'm doing these things. And then, so when she gets done, I'm sharing with everyone what I was receiving. And everyone else in the room was like, I was getting something like that too. So everyone in the room was having an experience, even though I was the one that was laying there, and we were all having similar experiences from the sound that Monica was creating. So
Wow.
it was really, really cool to hear that
Mhm.
that connection, that we were all having the same experience.
Wow.
And it just so happened that I had been visiting the friend who passed. I was visiting her sister in Santa Fe a few days before, and she gifted me some Tibetan bowls, singing bowls. So I had them with me in Durango
Mhm.
use during the session. So now I incorporate, this is what, this is something I do now. It's,
Mhm.
and it felt so empowering and so enlivening, and it felt so right. And and now the feedback I've had from people about their experiences, for some people it's very activating, for some people it's healing, for some people it's soothing. Uh, for some people, their brain shuts off.
Mhm.
So it's just a really nice, soothing, comforting, like
Mhm.
going into the nothing. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
so for everyone, it's really, they get exactly what they need.
Mhm.
I call it an attunement. So you're being attuned to whatever frequency is for your highest good at this time.
Mhm.
And I never know what's going to come out of me. And oftentimes afterwards, people will go, I thought that was a didgeridoo. Like, that was your voice?
Yeah.
How does that come out of you?
Yeah.
And it's because it's not coming out of me, it's coming through me, as channeling is. And that's so, yeah.
Way cool. Way cool. So there's a bunch of questions lined up here. Okay. So let's see. Some of these have been answered. Donna asks, I think this is for probably for both of you. If you're channeling a higher aspect of yourself, is that what makes the channeling so easy? And is it, I guess I'll add, is it easy?
It is now. So in the beginning, I would just set the intention. So the way I described it in the beginning, when Daniel would come in, is like I could feel my energy step over to the left, and then their energy would come in, and that's a conscious channel. So I'm aware of what I'm saying and all the things, although ask me 10 minutes afterwards and I won't remember what I said. But in it, I'm remembering, or I know what I'm saying, why I'm in it. In the beginning, what would happen is I'd get tingly over my head. I'd feel like somebody's pulling my head back. And then that energy would start to come through. And it's just about allowing that to happen, letting go of the resistance and allowing the words to come out. Of course, there's been times over the years that I'm like, am I just making this up? Just like people do in the QHHT sessions. Am I just making this up? And it's very similar to the SC portion of your QHHT session where you're channeling in the higher self. And I've channeled more than just the Octurians. I've channeled in the Lyrans, the Syrians, the Palladians, some other groups, some cousins to the Octurians is what they call themselves, are from another galaxy. They're more metallic. There's channeling is not limited in that way, but I set a gatekeeper so that I know that whatever comes in, it's in the highest vibration. And I've actually had the gatekeeper not allow an energy to come in before. And it was kind of funny because they were like, you ask us the question, we'll ask them the question, we'll give you the answer. And so I wasn't able to correspond directly with the energy that was coming through. That's only happened once, but it was interesting. And I think it was to show me that the gatekeepers making sure the energy of the frequency is of a higher vibration. So did I answer the question or dance around it?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting process. I think everybody has their own process with how to bring that in, but that was my version of it.
Monica, you used the term pure channel. And so the question Donna asks, what is a pure channel? What does that mean?
To me, I want to be the purest channel that I can be so that I'm not interfering. So it's not me coming through, it's whatever the highest and best for my client or for a group or whoever it is that I'm doing this for, or just for the energy that I'm bringing into the planet. So for me, I can't say that it's anything more than just setting the intention to be the purest channel I can be, so that I'm not interfering with it.
Yeah. Yeah, they do have to work with our belief systems and any of our egos and all of that. The channel has to work through that. So if you can let that ego go and get yourself out of the way, then you become that pure channel like Monica's talking about.
Very good. Very good. Both of you mentioned, so Tracie, you mentioned gatekeeper. Monica, you mentioned intention. So is there, if someone's thinking about opening themselves up for this ability, or maybe they've got an inkling or they've started on this, like what advice would you give them to make sure that what is coming through is the best for everyone? Like, and is it even possible for not the best intentions to come through?
I'm going to say you become an energetic match. Like if you're in a bad mood, you're grumpy, that's not a good time to channel. If your information has any fear-based energy, any fear-based messages in it, you're in a not as high vibration. I don't like to say anything's right, wrong, but bad, but if it's fear-based, get out of that for a moment, go clear your energy, go back and if you want to do it, go back and try again. A lot of times I tell people to set up their dragon, or like my gatekeeper is Daniel. But what they do is just, I want to set the intention that the energy that I'm bringing through is in a high frequency. The messages that are coming through are going to be also high frequency. If somebody's asking a fear-based question, I want to be able to reframe that through that channel into something higher frequency for them. And, but anyways, yeah, so I would say it's whatever the energetic. If you're in a bad mood and you just go into a channel without clearing that energy, you might start pulling something in that's going to match that energy. It's going to feed that. It's going to support that energy. So that would be my answer to that is, do your due diligence, clear the energy, get your energy set with a good intention, a high intention. And like Monica was saying, get into that pure intention. I don't want to be an influencer of this information. I want it to be clean.
Monica, do you have a ritual or anything you do to prepare yourself?
I
Clean
do.
yourself, clear yourself.
Yeah. So I do a what I call my protocol, and I do it every morning. I do it whenever I'm doing ceremony, whenever I'm doing anything, working with clients, and it's my very own. I don't share it with others, but it's all about, it's like calling in the highest, most positive energies of the universe, and it's asking that so it's really, I would say, up to you to know what feels right to you. You can certainly listen to what others use and do what feels right to you, but I think we all, with our belief systems, really decide what feels right for us. At this stage, for me, I do feel that creating a container is really appropriate, so that we are keeping it clean, because energy is energy, and some of it isn't as clean as other energies. And so, like Tracie said, some of the energy that can come in might not be pure. And so for me, I ask for everything. I ask that I be a pure channel, and that what comes through is exactly what is needed and for the highest and best good, and things of that nature. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Kathleen, who is she was my client on, and she's admitting this, so this is public. Thank you, Kathleen. So I just gave her a QHHT session yesterday.
Oh, hello, Kathleen.
And she says, I've been playing with my voice and toning recently, so this is helpful, and Monica, you're inspiring for her. She said, I just had my first QHHT session yesterday. Thank you, Holly. So now my voice is free and my throat healed. And
Yay.
so she actually had a tone come through during the SC, had a
Oh,
tone
that's so
during the
fun.
session yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
Beautiful.
nice.
So you're an inspiration, Monica. So that's
Oh, I'm
cool.
so glad.
That's really cool. So do you ever get like knocks on the back door from Daniel or to Tone when you don't want to? You're like, "Pff, go away. Why are you here?" Do you ever get that?
You know what? I have been really fortunate. I get that with people's loved ones, but not with Daniel. Yeah, I'll get loved ones or, people that have crossed over that are trying to get my attention. And usually I'm okay with that and getting the message to someone, unless that person was someone that, is irritating me or something at the time. But, I went through a spell where they would show up in my bedroom and I would wake up and I'd be talking. And I don't know what was going on during that time frame, but it doesn't happen anymore.
Mhm.
And I was more curious than annoyed by it at the time. It was like I'd wake up and I would see somebody just for an instant and then they would fade out real quick as I woke up, and that went on for a little while. But the Daniel stuff is always, the boundaries are always very clear. They don't interject. They let us do what we're doing. We're here to have an experience. And that's what I was saying. It's like it just changed my whole perspective of life. It's like we're creating experiences, and that's how they look at it. They're like, okay, well, they're doing that and they'll have that experience. Oh, well, there was a better way that could have turned out, but she'll have that experience now, and they just kind of look at it like that. So they're not interrupting me to redirect me or anything. They're letting me have my experiences. And when I sit down and set intentions, they'll show up, and sometimes I sit there and say, you guys couldn't have told me about that.
You didn't ask. Right?
I didn't ask. And they're just like, what do you want from us? But the Octurians have a good humor.
Mhm.
They can be funny and use humor, which is so relating to me because I use humor all the time. So it's perfect match. But it's fun to feel the different energies, like the mantis beings. They love us very much. Like they're kind of more interested though. Like they want to teach us something. They're that teacher. They want to teach us. They want to teach us telepathy and how to work with our empathy and how to, use our psychic abilities more. They want to teach us. And they're kind of a little bit more like a professor in that way, where the Octurians are kind of like, yep, you did that. You tripped, you fell. You're going to dust off. What are you going to do about it? And how are you going to react to that? And they kind of give us guidance in a more humorous way. And then you get the Palladians who are here. Their energy is a little different too. And they're here like almost like guardian angels to try to, they're probably the ones that would tap you on the shoulder and be like, I wouldn't do it like this instead. They'd probably be more like that. So they all have their own personalities when they're coming through. And it's just a lot of fun when a new energy does come through. And in Sedona, when Monica and I were on stage, the tall whites came in and they started running energy on everybody in the room and preparing them for the energy of the sun god Ra, which
That
was brand new to me.
That was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was amazing to be able to bring that. That was just unbelievable. I never had it happen. It was brand new to me. Ra was not even on my radar. And it should have been, because
I just want to share with everybody the setup. So Tracie and Monica are on stage. There's over 400 people in the audience, and it's spontaneous, right? You guys don't know what's going to come through when it comes through, and you just start channeling. Tracie started channeling, and then Monica channeled, and then Tracie channeled, and Monica channeled, and Tracie channeled, not knowing who was going to come through. So yeah.
Yeah, and then we gave you guys all instruments, and the drums and the rattles and all that stuff was so amazing. And I had people ask how many times we had to rehearse that. And I'm like, we didn't. We handed tools out and we got up on stage not knowing what we were going to do and just let it happen. And it's such a fun way to live. It's like, let's just see what happens.
And Ra shows up.
And
like
Ra shows up.
God, right? It's just like,
I was just blown away, and the energy came in across, like the way it came in for me was just mind blowing. And I was wishing I could have put like what I was seeing in my head out on a screen so everybody can see it, because it was just so incredible.
Mhm.
We had the native people from Sedona, the ancestors of Sedona were in the room. The tall whites were in the room setting the energy. Ra came in the room. People were standing up, or Ra had them stand up, and people were crying, and energy was moving, and we were releasing things, and it was just like, this is a party. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was great.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, but when Monica and I both got up on stage, I was like, so do you have any idea what you're doing? She goes, not yet. And I said, me either. I said, well, let's have fun. So that's how we got on stage in front of 400 people. Like, we didn't know. But the hint we had was that it would be tribal, which is why we brought the drums and the rattles. And that was all we knew. And that was enough to get us to bring the instruments, which I think are so incredible for. And if you guys want to hear it, it's on my YouTube. I did put it on, I recorded it with my phone. It was sitting next to me, and I just hit record, and I put that on YouTube. If you guys want to hear it, it's there. So
Monica, are you ever in the grocery store and you start toning? Like they're forcing something through you that you're like, go away.
That hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
Thanks for that, like that tip. In case that happens, I'm prepared. And
you'll be messaging Holly. Thanks, Holly.
You know what? Thanks, Holly. Yeah, thanks for letting them know that,
I had to sing for the apples today.
But I'm okay with that. I would probably tone it down. Never mind the pun, but my voice projects really, really strongly. So I would probably not let it rip, in the produce section, but
but the bananas would love it.
The food needs the frequency.
It's true. Yeah, maybe that'll be my new gig.
Yeah.
Going in and working on the food.
Raise the vibration. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk just a smidge about this concept that Tracie, you mentioned it, but that what we're actually doing in a QHHT session is we're channeling our higher self. A QHHT session is a channeling session for everybody.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, you're channeling your higher self, and then I get to have a conversation with your higher self, but it's being channeled through you. So that kind of proves to me that anybody can channel, right?
Anybody can channel.
Absolutely.
So?
And in fact, I think most people already are. They just don't know that that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What advice would you give people to like tap into that, to open their awareness of their own abilities and their own, what they're already doing?
Well, so one of the things is just don't hold back. Don't hold everything in. Don't be afraid that it's going to sound dumb. Don't be afraid about how it's going to be perceived at all, because it's a gift that wants to come through, and it could be a message that you have for a friend. That's how I first started noticing channeling showing up for me. Many years ago, I had this friend who she and I just raise our vibrations together. Like when we get together, we just have magical experiences. And so I would be with her and I would start saying these things that didn't sound like me. And then we would later talk about it and go, oh yeah, that was totally channeled. What did I say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's as simple as that.
Yeah. I would say if people want to start channeling, a really good way to do it is to just get yourself a journal and write your question in, and then just go with the first thoughts that are coming in and write them down. What do you think that angel or that master or that Palladian or whatever you're working with wants to say to you? And just start writing it in. What do you think that answer is? And keep practicing that. And as you do that, you're creating two things. You're creating that connection, and you're making it stronger by continuing to use it. But then you're also creating this book that later you can go, what do I need to know today? And you open it up and you read what you channeled. And it's so amazing, because this is what I had done years ago. And it's amazing to go to that book because you realize that when you channeled that answer, you were actually giving yourself advice for a time period that hadn't happened yet.
Mhm.
And then you were going to go look at that later, and it was going to be exactly what you needed to hear. It's really a cool way to play with it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't say it in my books, but both of my books were channeled. I mean, just the higher self flowing through. You know, I
Yeah.
finally realized all I have to do is sit in front of the computer and then just let them type what needs to be typed, right?
That's amazing.
How easy
Yeah.
is that? And then when I do my psychotherapy, it's the same thing. Like I just step aside and I'm like, okay, I don't have to fret. I don't have to figure it out. I'll just let the higher self flow through. They're a hell of a lot smarter than I am.
And it takes the pressure off, and you just trust it. Trust that it's coming
Yeah.
through.
And
Yeah.
I want to speak to that because when I was performing, when I was a performer, I stressed to the max going on stage.
Mhm.
Because it was me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now that I'm channeling, I don't stress. I don't, you know what I mean? Like when Tracie and I were up there for 400 people, I felt totally in my element because I just knew that I set that intention to be the pure channel and that it was just going to flow through me. And so it was off me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the same way. I was like, "Are you nervous?" And she's like, "No, are you?" I'm like, "No." And other people come in and go, they look at the size of the crowd and they're like, "Are you guys nervous?" We're like, "No."
Uh-huh.
But then later, in another day, when we were all getting up and sharing, at the end of it, sharing, how did or what did we think of the retreat or the reunion? And Kaya gets me up there and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know what to say." And I felt all those nerves come in and I'm like, "How can I get up there and do that whole thing and not any nerves?" And then I get up here and I'm like, So yeah, it was,
Yeah.
I like how they show us the contrast, I felt like that was still them showing the contrast of the energy. That was fun.
I do want to put a plug in for Suzanne Spooner's The Art of Universal Knowing talk. TAUK.
Hold that in front of your
Oh,
body.
sorry.
There you go.
There we go. And so she teaches people through talk, TAUK, how to channel using a pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that course and it was, my pendulum went to work straight away. And I want to tell a funny story about that, about using the pendulum for channeling. So there was an entity that I would channel with one of my pendulums. It was tuned to him. It's also a joke, Tracie. His name is Pladar, which is a confluence of Pleiadian and Arcturian as a joke.
Love it.
And yeah, as an inside joke. But I would I would day trade stocks with Pladar. Like I would get with my pendulum, I would get with Pladar in the morning. I'm like, Pladar, give me a ticker. And we had this whole agreement of like what percentage and how much money and yada yada. And for how many hours. And then I'd go on to my Charles Schwab and he'd give me a ticker and I'd go buy that stock and then do an automatic sell at our agreed upon thing. And Pladar made me quite a bit of money for a little while.
Amazing.
So what you're saying is ask them about the stocks. So
Yeah. Yeah. Now the
it's
stock market's gone
amazing.
crazy since then. And it's like, I don't do it now. But,
Don't play in
but
that.
for a while there, it was hilarious. It was just, and it was fun.
Yeah.
It was that energy of just play. Let's play with this for the fun of
And
it.
it's fun to watch. Like we got to watch Suzanne do that when we were in Hawaii. She was doing a couple of readings for a smaller group of us, and she was sitting there, and that sucker moves all over the place, and she's just focused and she's talking. And I recorded mine because I was like, "There's no way I'm going to keep up with everything she's saying." It's amazing to watch her work with her talk system. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, so we've got a couple more questions and then folks have questions lined up. But before we get there, both of you guys are like super busy. You got all kinds of stuff going on. Monica, what have you got going on that you want folks to know about? And you just moved, so how do people even find you?
Yeah, so I'm in a little hamlet now of Skamania, Washington. So it's not actually even really a town. We don't have our own post office or anything. It's outside of Vancouver, Washington, about a half an hour east. And yeah, it's in the Columbia River Gorge. And yes, so right now, what I have going on is moving. And I'm working on my website for Sacred Soul Sounds is the name of my toning business, or my whatever you want to call it, channeling tones. Sacred Soul Sounds. And the name of my website, which is actually being built right now, is sounds to the number two soul.com. And I don't, I mean, I'm open to doing sessions in person. I haven't actually set that up in my home yet, because really we're still in the process of moving in. But I do plan on seeing people in person, and then also doing online one-on-one. And I'm open to doing groups, and I will be offering more groups. I've previously done groups in the past, and I've worked with Tracie, and we've done these together, and we're going to do more. And we're talking about maybe having a workshop here on my land in the fall. So lots to come, and it's not quite solid yet. So
Cool. Cool. All right. And we might have some tones here in a minute, huh?
oh yeah.
I don't know.
Hello, yeah.
Tracie, you are like burning it up, sister girl. You've got like
yes, so I have some things coming up. The first thing I have coming up is July 27th and 28th. It's an online workshop. If you guys want to learn the channeling, I'm going to cover light, medium, and deep trance channeling over the 2 days. And this is going to be online, so you get to do it from the comfort of your own home. We're going to do it just like we're here. And then as a bonus, everyone that signs up for that gets 90 minutes of one-on-one coaching with me afterwards. So whatever you learn in class, whatever you're struggling with, then we'll make an appointment, do 90 minutes where I'm going to work with you directly, individually, solo. So that's going to be the 27th, 28th. That's on my website. Egypt. Oh my gosh. Who knew we would all fall in love with Egypt, right? So Egypt's coming up January. That's 17 days in Egypt. We fly into Cairo. We hit a few spots there. I love the way that I do this with Laura Mitri, and she's designed it. And the best part is that, and I know this is going to sound funny that this is the best part, the pyramid is the last thing we do. And it's so perfect because we go on this extraordinary journey. It's the initiatic path. We're going to fly into Cairo. We're going to go see a couple museums, and then we're going to go down to Luxor and jump on a cruise ship and cruise down the Nile and go to all the different temples along that way. We have extraordinary experiences with that. So many things, I can't even tell you all of them. Then we go over to the Red Sea, and we do an excursion at sea where you can go scuba diving or you can snorkel. We get on another day, we'll get on four-wheelers and dune buggies and go out in the desert, and we go see an oasis out in the desert. It's kind of fun. The people there that run that stuff, they're a lot of fun. They're having fun with us, so that makes it even better. We're going to go back to Cairo, and then we get a day where we are spending time with just our group in the Sphinx and just getting all that energy and the messages we get from that. And then we go into the King's Chamber in the pyramid, and we're going to have 4 hours in the King's Chamber to experience the sarcophagus and the energy and tone and do all the beautiful things we do. I can't even tell you all the things. You're going to be doing channeling. You're going to be doing light language. You're going to be doing astral travel. You're going to be doing past life regressions with us. All of these things are happening in the 17 days. So that starts in January. So that's on my website as well, traciemahann.com. And then when I'm done with that, we're going to go to Iceland, and that's going to be with Trina Sheeran and Julia Cannon and myself. And we're going to be on a cruise for 10 days in June 20th through the 30th in Iceland. There's going to be 7 stops where we get to get off the boats and do our things. But there's 3 days where we're going to be teaching classes there while we're at sea. And then the 7 stops that the boat makes, the cruise makes along the way to see Iceland. And I think Greenland's on there too. I don't remember, but all the stops are on my website on the link. So traciemahann.com, go check them out. The first one coming up though is that online channeling class. And since that's what we're talking about here, that's probably the most significant one to point out today. If you want to do that, it's real easy. Just come see me on the 20, well, not see me, log on the 27th, 28th. The link for that class is on my website and on my Facebook and social media and all the things. So thank you.
Yay.
And of course, more things coming up. Like Monica and I are talking about getting together and doing something in the trees. Who doesn't want to be with the trees? And they're talking to us these days. The trees, the water, the air, all the elements, they're really talking to us. And why not let Monica bring that through in her beautiful voice? And there's more things coming. I know there are. There's time in the year yet to create more, so we will. So just stay tuned if you guys want to do things. Some of them are online and easy to log in from home, and some of them will get you outside and doing something. So
an experience. Yeah.
Experience. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to say I didn't really give a way for anyone to contact me since my website for Sounds to Soul is not up yet. Monica Dunn, QHHT.com is the best way to contact me. So
Very good.
thank you.
Awesome. I've got a level 1 companion class here at the end of August in
Yay.
Durango.
I actually talked to someone today about your class, and hopefully they're going to take it.
Cool. Cool. So if you're a QHHT practitioner, level 1 or level 2, really, and you did the online and you want a little bit of real life experience, come on to Durango, August 22nd through the 24th. I'll be doing that here. And then actually, I'm spending the end of the year retreating because the 3rd book in the trilogy is being birthed.
Yay!
And I'm getting the sit down and do this. So the first book is Finding Purpose, Surprising Wisdom from the Higher Self. And the second book was Finding Forgiveness, Surprising Healing from the Higher Self. And the third book coming through is Finding Gratitude, Surprising Growth from the Higher Self. So
Beautiful.
all about spiritual growth and using gratitude as a lever for that spiritual growth.
Wow.
So,
That's going to be so powerful.
Yeah.
I like this trifecta you have going on.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations that you're getting the buzz for that.
Yeah. It's been in the works for a while, but it's like, now it's like, yes, time.
It's time.
Yeah. Yep.
Great.
Yeah. All right. So shall we bring in some channel?
Why not?
Okay. Who wants to go first?
Well, here's what I want to ask. I want to ask the audience, if you have questions for Daniel, please put them in the chat. And then let's let Monica go first. And people, if they have questions, I like to make it easy. Can you put question in capital letters so that Holly knows it's a question and it's easy for her to find? And meanwhile, and then are you okay with starting, Monica?
Sure.
Okay. So let's have an intention, okay, for Monica, for the tone to come through. And what I'd like to ask for, just in the spirit of what we're talking about tonight, Monica, if you could bring us a tone that helps our audience open up their awareness of their own capacity to channel. So like does some unlocking for them of their own abilities. Does that make sense as an intention?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Okay. Just
Thank you. Thank you, Monica. There was a lot of that was either, I think, higher or lower than the human audible range. I don't know if you've ever channeled that way before, but there was, I mean, it was like either super high frequency or low frequency. That was amazing.
Great. Yeah.
Which I think makes sense to the intention, right? That,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all vibration. So
Yeah.
it, like what we're hearing is not always what's coming through, kind of like in a QHHT session.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So for Daniel, are you ready, Tracy?
You want me to just, okay. So what I'll do in the beginning, I think, is just ask Daniel to bring in what would be good for everyone to know. And then if there are questions, then we could ask those. I don't see anybody coming in with any just yet, but we'll scan the audience. The fun part about scanning the audience that I learned through Daniel is it doesn't have to be the live audience. This message, so if you're listening later and you're hearing this and the message resonates, it's for you. They're scanning the audience, the forever audience that will ever listen at any given time. And that's so cool. So I'll go get Daniel and we'll see what he has to say. And you two can come up with some questions too. So, all right. We were wondering how long she was going to make us sit over here on the bench waiting to get our turn to speak to this amazing and beautiful audience. And we would like to say hello to everyone. And we'd like to say thank you for allowing us this opportunity to be here with you and to speak with you today. So what we would like to do is just give a moment to look at and scan the energy of the audience and see what comes in for us to talk about today. The words that come in are leap of faith. We want everyone to think about what it is that they are coming into right now. There's been a lot of changes going on in your world, in your reality, in your astrology, in the things that are going on around you, the energy influxes that are coming in, the things that are happening, your DNA is changing, your way of thinking is changing. And so we're asking you, where is it that you might benefit from taking that leap of faith? Where is it that you might benefit from letting go of the worry and stepping into trusting and allowing for the changes that are occurring to take place? And we want to remind you that you are the one that created the changes. It's your higher self that is orchestrating all of this for you. So can you trust that your higher self knows what it's doing, knows what it's creating for you? And if you can go with the flow of what is happening and what is going on around you without resistance, and to fall into the trust and to that leap of faith, then just enjoy that ride and find where it takes you. And it will always take you somewhere beautiful, somewhere wonderful. You are orchestrating this. You and your higher self are creating this reality that you are living in. It is creating it. And whatever it is that you are seeing around you, if you do not like what you are seeing, it is up to you to make that change, right? That is a mirror to you for something that is going on in your own life that you would like to shift or change. And so if you're seeing something that you hold judgment on or seeing something that creates dis-ease within you, it is time to look at that. It is time to understand it. It is time to find, where is that in myself? Where is that judgment coming from? Where is that criticism coming from? Where is that dis-ease coming from? And then as you find it, as you discover it, as you release it, as you do all those things, you move forward with ease and grace as you leave it behind effortlessly. Why not make it easy? Why not enjoy the ride? Why not laugh and play more and create a reality where you are manifesting from a state of joy, where you are manifesting from a state of bliss, and it is created faster and faster and faster. And you are going to start noticing time will move differently for you, and energy will be different for you, and the people that are around you will be different, and the things you are drawn to and the food you eat and all the things around you are starting to change because you are changing. Your molecular structure is changing, your DNA is changing, the way you think about things are changing, the way your mind is functioning is changing, it is opening, it is expanding, and it is evolving. And in all of that, you are creating something more special, more spectacular, and more wondrous than you could even imagine. You all talk about 5D Earth. You all talk about 5D New Earth, New World. And yet here you are in the most majestic point of it, where you are creating it, where you are putting each block in its place, each structure in its place, where you are dropping away old belief systems and constructs, and you are breaking through those restrictions and those powerful constructs that have been built around you. You're breaking through them all, and you are creating something new, and you are creating something that extends beyond what the human capabilities used to be. You can look at things around you, the physicalness of the humankind, the things that man and woman are doing now in their physical bodies goes way beyond anything that humankind has ever done in their physical bodies. As you look around, as you see people in their strength, their voices, the way that they see things, the intelligence, it is expanding, and you are part of that. You are part of that ride. You are part of that expansion. It is you. It is your turn, and it is time for you to step into that now and take that leap of faith. And that's where we will stop and see if you have anything that you would like to ask us at this time. And do any of you, Holly, do you have any questions coming?
I don't. I think that was very comprehensive, Daniel. Thank you so much for all of that.
Wonderful. And do either of you have questions that you would like to ask?
Monica, do you have anything you'd like to ask?
Is there anything that you want me to know?
Right. We like to refer to Monica as the harmonic convergence. And as she brings in the sound and the frequencies. As we look at your energy, Monica, what we see around you is an elk symbol. We want you to look up the meaning of the elk. And we see the mighty horns, and is that what you call them? The horns on the elk's head. And it is a very large, what do you call that? Rack the horns. Mm-hmm. And the energy in that, it is like you were pulling energy to you. You started off as a more meek energy, a younger or youthful energy of this elk, and now you are this majestic creature that is pulling the energy to you and through you. So it is coming from the earth energy below you, and it is coming from the sky energy or the heaven energy above you. And it is creating this beautiful harmony. It is creating balance in this world. And you are actually the home that you are sitting on. We don't think this will be new information for you. It is a pressure point that you are creating a vortex on, and you are creating a pattern, a frequency pattern. And Tracie saw the patterns yesterday when you were giving her a session. She was seeing the patterns, and the patterns were going in both directions. They were coming in and they were also going out. And you are creating this energy in a pressure point of the planet, where it is actually moving through the grids of the planet, and it is moving through the grids of the higher collective consciousness as well. So you are doing things for Earth, and you are doing things for humanity through the work that you are doing in this particular spot in the world. So we thank you for following your guidance, for trusting it, and also for your partner for trusting that as well, as you made that move, as you were entering into that leap of faith for you to find this location and to start integrating that into the grid in this particular place in the world. So we thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Mm. And Holly, did you have anything?
There's a question from Kat here. Is there any communication from source regarding I can't read it, release, I think, or anything else? So Katayun says, my abilities feel so amplified in the past months, and I know I'm not alone. So any communication regarding any release or anything else that's going on in the world that's affecting people.
Hmm. We're going to see how that answer wants to come in for us, because we want to address her personally, but there's also this global question going on. We want to remember that everyone that is here is experiencing. And as they are experiencing, they are exactly where they need to be and what it is that they need to be experiencing for their growth. They also have a team. They also have their angelic and masters and their star being connections. Everybody has a team, and they're working with them to guide them in the right directions or through the experiences that they came here to do and to be. And so when you ask for release for everyone, what we want you to do is release the idea that you need to find release for everyone. How about that? And that to just trust that everyone is indeed on their perfect path. And let's hold gratitude. And Holly's going to write about that, right? Let's hold gratitude for everyone being exactly where they need to be on their path for their highest and best good. That would be a great way to pray for the planet. And that our leaders in this world are doing the highest and best good for everyone on the planet. And then that's how you pray and you hold gratitude. Thank you that everyone is exactly where they need to be. And thank you that our leaders in this world are doing the highest and best good for everyone on the planet. And then that's how things shift. When you get into the higher vibrations, when you get into the gratitude, when you get into the joy, when you start understanding that you can't look at something and be angry about it and then expect it to change. It's when you hold the gratitude for the change, when you hold the gratitude for the shift, when you hold the gratitude for everyone in this planet being perfect and exactly the way they are, and you let go of those parts of you that want to be angry at it or hurt by it or questioning it or judging it. And so that is how we release. Gratitude would be a great answer for that. And so we're going to plug Holly's new book, Go Get Gratitude, when she has that out. But it is important for each person to do that. And Kat was the name of.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We want you to know that you have an extraordinary energy with you, one that wants to work with you. You have Palladian energy around you, but we also see you asking them to identify. The energy of this being that is with you is gold, and it is of high vibration. We want to say it's you come from energy. It might be hard for you. We say this to everyone though, right? It might be hard for you to be on this planet because where you come from, you don't have the duality, you don't have the dishonesty and the secrets and all the hiding. Everything is just right there. And so it might be hard for you to understand why someone would tell an untruth, or why we would go to war, or why people fight, and why don't they just say what they really mean, and those types of things. You have a sensory about you about wanting the truth. And this being is here with you. It is helping you. It's like a guardian angel, only if a guardian angel had a next level up, that's where it would be. It would be the next level up even. And energy is helping you to work with clearing energy of dishonesty from the planet. And it is helping you to, how would you say that? Dissolve this energy, transmute it into something better. And as the world is evolving, as people are waking up or becoming more aware or going into the great remembering, you are there kind of like sweeping up the dust and getting out the remnants of the old energy. You're moving the old energy out so that more of this truth and this, as Monica used the word purity, more of the purity can come in. And so you are someone who makes room for the energy to come in. And we hope that makes sense to you. And let it come in your own way, in your own words, because there's a lot of powerful information coming in, and that is not the only thing you are doing. So connect with this being and let it bring in the information, and it will tell you where it is from. It's not telling us, so it must not want you to know just yet, but it will tell you which star system it's coming from, which group you're connected to with that. And so that's what we have with that one. Is there anything else?
I think that's good, Daniel. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom tonight.
Absolutely. We thank everybody for giving us the opportunity to come in, and we appreciate everyone for being here in support of Holly's show here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yay. Welcome back. All right.
So
Thank
that's
you.
how quick it'll come and go. They just
Mhm.
drop off. So yeah.
Mhm.
Anyways, that's fun. That was some really cool energy. Kat, you have this really cool being with you that would be a lot of fun for you to work with. Yeah.
So Monica and Tracy asked me to channel tonight, and I don't normally channel.
Yeah.
And we have a question in here that's not being forgotten. And although I've been holding it off, and so Candace asked it and Donna asked it, what is light language? So I'm going to channel light language.
Beautiful.
I'm going to step aside, see who shows up. I've never ever done this before. Okay. I've certainly been in the presence of light language, but I've never channeled it, but I think it's going to come through.
I like this. This is an exciting moment. Very cool.
Oh. That was an orb, a white light orb
I love it.
that was speaking through me. So
Beautiful.
the sense that I got was it was almost like a prayer or a gift
Mhm.
that was expanding love and expanding, I guess, just good tidings, I guess, for the people that are listening. So, yeah.
Yeah, it felt like a prayer, and that was awesome. I was
Yeah.
just like,
Really expansive.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm dizzy. I'm still dizzy right now.
I love that.
I'm a
Yay,
little
that was
loopy.
beautiful. You got it more? You want to do it again?
No, not right now. I'm like literally
Wait,
dizzy.
I have a request.
Okay.
Let's just bring in some amazing abundance, like joyful abundance. It
Okay.
doesn't have to mean money, just joyful abundance
Okay. From the orb.
from the orb.
TP. Hashmini. Ha Kwakmiti. Okay. There's your abundance.
Really fun is the first thing after I asked that, the first thing I saw was the picture in your behind you where you're.
Oh, yeah.
And I just stared at that while you were doing that. That was fun.
Yeah. Oh, and that's an orb too. I'm just realizing the connection.
Yeah. One of the other things that happens around here when the light language comes in is so do the cats. And while you were doing that, my cat jumped up here and I'm like, what is that? You know, as I'm getting him off the desk. But yeah, cats love light language. That's amazing.
Yeah. So anybody can channel anything at any time. And I think Tracy, you said it, but I mean, you just got to get yourself out of the way.
Yeah.
You just got to get yourself out of the way and then allow. Yeah. And so there was a question in here about, is it important to know if I feel the energy is pure? And I think we talked about that a little bit, but like intention, gatekeeping, keeping yourself energetically clean. Yeah. Yeah, that's important.
I mean, the way you're going to know if it's pure, the messages will be uplifting, encouraging.
Or the feeling.
Yeah, the feeling that you get when you're in it. Yeah.
Or when you're finished.
If it's not pure, it's probably gonna give you information that's fear-based or something of that nature. So yeah.
Or it just won't feel right. I mean, really, it's about listening to yourself on the inside while you're doing it and afterwards.
Yeah.
And getting a feel for what just came through.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Final words. Tracy, what do you got for the listeners?
I'm gonna do my hashtag, the magic is real. It's it's here, we're playing in it, have fun with it, you're creating your reality, create something fun.
And TracieMahann.com, and you're in outside of, what is it, Baker, Oregon?
No, I'm about 30 minutes out of Portland.
Portland. Okay, Portland, Oregon. And Monica, final words?
Well, I'm Wouldn't It Be Fun, Monica Dunn. So the way I look at life is like, wouldn't it be fun if this? Like, what do you want? Just look at, do you want a channel? Wouldn't it be fun if you just started channeling right now because of the activation that just came through? By the way, Tracie Mahann is such an activator that all of you just got activated. I'm just telling you right now. But really, wouldn't it be fun if your life was just beautiful and flowing and magical, and that you just allowed all of that to flow through you? Because we all have the ability to just allow to be source energy and to allow it to flow through us and for us to channel it at all times. So wouldn't it be fun if we just all allowed that?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And your website again?
Monica Dunn, QHHT.com.
And you're right outside of Vancouver, Washington, which is on the other side of the river from Portland too. So yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 30 minutes that way out of Portland. She's 30 minutes that way out of Vancouver. So when we go to see each other, it's an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of you know me, so Holly Duckworth, AwareCareDurango.com, and I'm in the middle of freaking nowhere in Durango, Colorado.
And Durango is an amazing place to visit. We had a lot of fun there last year. Yeah.
It is really beautiful.
Holly.
All right. Thank you guys. Thank you for sharing your gifts and all of your wisdom tonight. Thank you everyone who's listening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Holly. Thank you, everyone.
All right.